This is his second time on the show. Super excited to have him back. He's a writer and comedian who lives in Brooklyn, and he's appeared on Stories from the Stage on PBS and the Risk podcast. Please welcome Hunter Gardner.
Oh, hi, nice people. Yeah. Can you believe I never had a girlfriend till I was 30 years old? With that riz, as the kids would say, I think. Jeez. That's probably wrong, right? So every time I've ever taken the Myers-Briggs personality test, I've been a clear E for extrovert. I happen to love the Myers-Briggs personality test, probably because I'm an extrovert. And growing up, my extroversion was kind of like a superpower of mine, right? It made me eager to get out into the world and meet all different kinds of people and try new things. And broadly, it meant that I was well-liked. But I was definitely not cool. Those two things are not the same. Just by means of example, like drummers are cool, right? Grandmas are well-liked. Like, I was a grandma, like, still kind of am. But I thought I got my shot in 2004. I'm 16 years old. I thought I got my shot to be cool when my dad gifted me a 1996 Ford Mustang. Right? So now it's like I'm still a grandma, but now I own a drum set. Like, this car is cool. And my friends were quickly like, no, Hunter, it is not. The Mustang brand name was doing most of the heavy lifting in the cool department because, this Mustang, like I said, if I'm doing my math right, it was like 8 years old at the time. It was forest green, which is really kind of like more appropriate for like a toy tractor, than a cool car. And it didn't have a spoiler on the back. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like that like fin looking like thing, a spoiler. I don't know what function that serves, other than to just like announce to the world, like, this ain't no Honda Accord, pal, There's a big old scratch on the roof because the previous owner would put their kayak on it, like you would do with a Mustang, right? And also judging from the smell of the cloth interior, the previous owner was also most definitely a chain smoker. This car was not going to make me cool. It definitely didn't push the needle in the girl department. In fact, I vividly remember one time an all-out make-out pause because the back seat was so cramped. So this car was not getting me really any cool points. But at that same time, I was in a Bible study. Also not cool. But my Bible study leader was a guy, he went to Wake Forest, which was the private school in my hometown of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Richard was his name. And he was like kind of classic fraternity guy, $100 haircut, and he had the car to match. He had a BMW. For spring, right? Okay. For spring break that year, Richard was going to go on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic, and for some reason, he was like, hey, Hunter, why don't you take my car for the week? And I was like, hell yeah. And my mom was like, absolutely not. Because unlike Richard, my mom knew that I had failed my driver's test twice. But still, Richard's BMW ended up in my gravel driveway, and my friends found out. And they were like, okay, this car is cool. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, let's take it for a joyride. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, and we want to bring water balloons. And I was like, sure. So we're in the BMW, we're driving around the streets of Winston-Salem, and I actually do feel so cool. Like, we have the radio on, and I can like feel my friends' admiration for me. It's just like, hell yeah. And then the water balloons came out. And I would like to pretend that I didn't know what they wanted to do with these water balloons, but of course I did. They wanted to throw them at other cars. And sure enough, they ding one, and that did not go over well. I don't know what we thought was going to happen. Like, do we think people were just going to be chill? Like, oh, free car wash, I was going to go this Sunday, but, No, of course not. This guy is a large man in a very large truck and going, he's in the other lane going the opposite direction. He immediately does a U-turn through the turn lane and starts to chase us as he should. And I'm getting some like real distance, but then I hit a red light and I swear to God, just like a horror movie, he appears behind us. Like he is directly behind us, and I can see like his hands gripping the wheel like it's my neck, and just like beaming at me through the windshield, and he's like revving his engine and beeping his horn. And my friends and I, of course, are like all like freaking out, but like in that like it's a life or death situation, so like no one talk, don't look at him, just like let this man cook, get us out of here. So light turns green, I book it off the line like I'm in one of those like 1950s drag races or something, like someone just dropped a scarf, and I'm weaving in and out of traffic, and it becomes pretty clear after a couple minutes that like we are not gonna like out willpower this guy, He is out for blood, as he should be. But fortunately, we're like near a really familiar neighborhood, so I turn into the neighborhood, because I'm gonna kind of, do kind of like this like evade like maze type thing, right? Like I don't know, like some kid in like a Disney adventure movie where he's just like, yeah, I might be the underdog here, but you don't know the neighborhood like I do. Some kind of Home Alone situation, But like I have so much adrenaline going through my veins, and I'm like so nervous that I keep using my turn signal. So yeah, it's kind of hard to lose a tail when you're obeying all minor traffic laws. Trying to redeem myself from failing my driver's license test twice, I guess. But finally, my friends are like, "Hey, stop using your damn signal." I'm like, "Right, and that is a good idea." Okay, and so I stopped doing that, and I'm in this neighborhood, and I turn, 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 and I turn into a cul-de-sac. A dead end for the car and maybe for me. And now my friends are absolutely vocally like freaking out because me being like the guy that's just like, don't look, like let this dude save our life, I'm about to end it. And so everyone is screaming. My friend Chris is like, kill the lights, but like there's fight, flight, or freeze. I'm a freeze person, so I'm just like frozen, And but like Chris reaches over, kills the lights. I come back to, I turn the car off, and again, it's just like a horror movie, where like it's night and like you're in the woods and you just know the killer's right there and your time's about to come, and we wait for our imminent deaths, and the truck never comes. We escaped. We never touched another water balloon again. For the rest of the week, Richard's BMW sat in the driveway just where my mom wanted it to be. And when Richard got back from the Dominican Republic, I could not hand him the keys fast enough. And I remember when I did, he smiled and he said, "Hey man, thanks for filling the tank back up with gas." And I didn't have the heart to tell him that I didn't need to. One-time ride. And in hindsight, I don't really know why Richard let me have his car for a week, why he thought I was responsible enough to do that. I wasn't even the most responsible guy in our Bible study, There was an Eagle Scout, But maybe Richard just remembered what it was like to be 16 years old, desperately wanting to be cool. And he handed me the keys because for one glorious week, he wanted me to believe that I was. Thank you.